If you go away on the summer day, then you might as well take the sun away.
A long while after my degree, I did an excellent teaching English as a foreign language course for a week or so. Excellent controlled to free up practice and even intonation of your voice. And some of the more intimate getting your mouth around a sound. That was always after a bit of experience to get me into a PGCE secondary teaching college, a year course that wasn't half as thorough. It's just to make you feel embattled, I think. But that PGCE and a bit of experience did get me a job as a design technology overseas somewhere warm. As can sometimes happen, I think, through jealousies as much as anything. The head of year took an instant disliking to me, just why, I don't really know and don't really care. Beyond that, once a student had discovered how warmly any grievance they might feel they had for the freedoms that I gave them, they would go to the head of year in throngs, and before you know it, you've lost the class. Perhaps it's that my classroom was next door to his office apartment. This is in a country where the police are generally considered internationally a better option than the dictatorships that take place every now and again. In a very elite private school, where teachers have a similar status as their servants and chauffeurs. The children say how their day went to their mothers. They don't have that much to do with their fathers. And so a number of the mothers are really quite interested in me. They want to meet me. Rather like Parents' Day, rather like Parents' Evening, there's a Parents' Day on one Saturday. And all those mothers get the opportunity to meet me all at once.
But if you want, I'll understand.
Now, there are security guards at the gates of this school, obviously. A number of them in a little hut. Where their priorities lie is where the school tell them where their priorities lie. And private schools are, well, you buy results, basically. The children are as lazy as any others, and in a hot climate perhaps even more so, that they're used to it, I'm not. The work that they turn in, that they haven't pester-powered you into doing it for them, that you have to mark down anyway, isn't worth the marks that you would give in secondary school in Britain. I was living in a gated community, security guards on the gatehouse, and then security guards in every little local area in a little sentry box. They'd seen me renovating a bicycle that had just been dumped. Not long later, that bicycle wasn't mine anymore, shall we put it. I think the security guards were to blame, and had it away. Now, the name of this place I don't want to mention in case I want to go back there, but a lot of people will be staying there for the soccer World Cup, so that they can drink in their hotels and then fly off to a World Cup football match. There was a bit of
Without loving you, can I tell you now?
soccer when we had our parents' evening, morning meet and greet. You know how when you meet people, a number of people, you can have a sort of a horseshoe-shaped formed. You're able to scan the whole horseshoe and do eye contact with all the people involved. This horseshoe of mothers that had finally had me pointed out to them by their children. Remember, my job is no higher than a goat herder. The horseshoe started contracting around me. The mothers started getting closer. It started turning into a bit more of a circle where I couldn't keep my eyes on the extremities without turning fast and looking unnerved, and you should never show weakness. I slinkied my escape out of there and made a declaration how I was going to one of the fun fairground games by the pool. Yes, there's a swimming pool at this private school, of course there is. It's much better than my hometown's of 100,000 people's municipal pool. Outdoor 30-degree heat, and I took my turn. The previous teacher walked dry back from the gangplank of the diving board, perhaps 3 metres from the deep end along the length. The workshop technicians from the basement, who are highly skilled, had rigged up a lever action and a latch and a weight, so that this round old target, like from the Battle of Britain, if someone took a penalty and hit this target, the latch was delatched. And the person on the end of the diving board was pulled into the swimming pool and dunked. It might already be coming clear to you that there was now a whole team of mother and child bonding experience lined up to take penalties at my spot. The opportunity to inflict injury by a student on a teacher is not to be missed. Why aim at the target if you can aim at the teacher with your kicked football? The penalty spot ball placement got closer and closer to the target. After half a dozen goes, 2 of which were body saves by myself, some of the mothers were really rather good at getting coaching by the children, but the enthusiasm of the mothers to get at me was drawing a crowd, and any that hadn't asked to have me pointed out to them were soon catching on. They'd heard little snippets here and there of the teacher who's the target through the year. One of the poorer boys who used to get bullied a little bit by the richer boys, but deserved a lot of the detentions that he got from the other teachers. But I'd recognised where all that was coming from. His sub-Saharan African mother stepped up to the spot. I could hear the roundel board waggle as it just clipped the edge of it. And luckily the latch didn't get sprung. There was now going to be a second round. There was lots of money being raised for a good charity by this penalty shootout. There were as many misses as England World Cup penalty shootouts. Some of the more physical students were getting a bit frustrated. I taunted them a little bit with, "I'm using my superpowers to deflect." Though it was feeding into their interest, they didn't really appreciate it. Yes, my superpowers did fail me. Yes, I did end up in the water, and I was quite happy to do it over and over again. I sort of expected a commendation for raising so much money from the head of year, but no. In time, they all headed off home in their big black cars with their peace symbol on the front bonnet. Yes, they won't be told otherwise. Campaign for nuclear disarmament symbol is just the peace and quiet in an acoustically lined, locked, safe from the minions outside on the road.
But if you go, I won't cry, though the good is gone from the word goodbye. If you go away.
Context: we've all stayed in a beach resort hotel and walked through the lobby in our bikini, or wrapped in a towel. Sometimes there's those that stretch this to the minimale for those few seconds where you risk putting someone off their continental or all-English breakfast. Context: what if your hotel is in the middle of the city and you're off to the rooftop pool, or the basement pool fitness suite or sauna? You might need to walk down fairly narrow corridors, softly plush carpet lined, some doors slightly ajar, to get to the intimacy of the lift that serves the whole vertical building. People just arrived with their suitcases or just about to exit onto the street. In very much external attire, you're thrust up close in those few metres squared of Ascensio. Both you and they have equal right and appropriateness to be there the way you are. Neither ought to disapprove of the other. You've both done the same. But the formal thrust up against the informal, or the very informal, sequestered in amongst the antithesis, can really challenge the appropriateness of an already intrinsically awkward social interaction in the mirrored box that is your lift. Infinity is emphasised. Any topic has the potential of associated power play and, well, intimidation, far beyond what we might have intended. But the same is true just from the interaction of the eyes and body direction positioning, even projection or subjugation of your own aura, shall we call it, can be perceived by all around as an expression of interest. Just because someone's wearing the minimale doesn't mean they're expressing any interest. It's not seeking an interaction. Your city-centred spa isn't a strip club. Objectification and commoditisation. No, it's without me too. Sans moi aussi. Rich and poor might be thrust up against each other by the different priced suites of the largest five-star hotels. But the same applies to more budget basement spas in hotels. We're not talking gutter. I am turning the subject to Austria and skiing and sauna with jacuzzi and non-residents bust in. We are for much of the year, but for a week or two we're not. In Dubai and Abu Dhabi, the UAE, United Arab Emirates, the disposable workers of India and Southeast Asia that have come from similarly exploitative, unequal base provision, import some distasteful aspects of their own culture with little more finesse here, and then rub shoulders with who can really make their day, week, month, year or decade, with a whim of an atypical, unguarded move, and then glare such stories at you in full UHD daylight in the above-ground subway train, thrust cheek by jowl, in each other's equivalent of evening wear finery, but somehow the cultural interaction makes you feel dirty. Reflecting on the human condition can really put a downer and preoccupy a party. Mindset mingled. But this is Africa.